Yo.
Welcome, Izumi Nation.
Hey.
It's the before portion of Before and After.
Mad Max, Fury Road.
Mad Max Fury Road. So,
The one about ladies in cars.
Horrible nerd confession here. I've never seen any of the Mad Max films.
Same.
So, yeah.
The closest I got was summer camp.
You're gonna have to forgive us that this is our first venture beyond Thunderdome.
And it's actually like
Sorry.
really hard for us to get a hold of anything related to Mad Max because it's expensive and out of our budget.
No, Shout Factory's new release is like $13. I could probably pick that up later.
Eventually.
Of the original.
But like it should be all the movies together.
Maybe they're having trouble getting the rights to Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome.
Beyond Thunderdome.
Beyond Thunderdome is such a great title. But anyway, this movie, Mad Max Fury Road, I'm ecstatic. I'm not gonna lie. Everyone who I've talked to has told me it's really good, and practical effects everywhere.
And ladies.
And ladies, yeah, very strong women movie. Also, Charlize Theron and Tom Hardy. I love both of them. And it'll be good to see Tom Hardy in a movie that I don't hate. Looking at you, Dark Knight Rises.
I'm looking forward to it because lots and lots and lots of practical effects. I have a soft spot for them.
Yeah, post-apocalypse movies, that's just a cool thing in general. I don't know, yeah, so this before, what we're going to say is we're going in very positive. We don't know the franchise very well, so, actually, what I'm hoping for, this is my big thing that I want out of this movie. I want to not just enjoy this movie, I want this to be the kind of movie that will make me think, I should really go straight to Best Buy and pick up Mad Max, the original.
That would be good.
Because this, yeah, very excited.
I don't even know what I was going to say. Okay. I'm looking forward to it, though.
So we'll talk to you guys again in what will be seconds for you, and for us it'll be a couple hours.
Because our showing is, what, in 50 minutes?
Yeah, like an hour from now. Oh, God. Oh. So yeah, we are back from Mad Max Fury Road. Mad Max 4. You guys probably just saw our before. They were excited. We weren't excited enough.
It takes a lot for me to leave a movie speechless.
Which you literally... She was literally speechless. Literally. She could not find words for basically until the credits finished rolling.
I was sitting there like...
I have 2 words to describe this movie, if I had to describe it in short. Those words are new classic. I mean, wow.
I would use the term perfect film, but...
I was not expecting... I was expecting to enjoy this. I wasn't expecting anything nearly as perfect as this movie was, but...
Me neither.
Damn. There's so basically...
We're spoiling this movie.
Yeah, long story short, if you want a non-spoiler review of the movie, go see it right now. Seriously, stop the video.
Pause
the video. Go, watch it.
We'll wait.
We will wait. We're not actually going to wait for those guys. We're going to keep talking. Anyway, holy shit, you guys. Holy shit. Mad Max Fury Road is the best possible action movie you could ever make, basically.
Also, the best car chase scene I've ever seen.
Which is basically the entire movie, is just one long chase. If you're not familiar with the Mad Max universe, which we weren't, don't worry. It lets you know everything you need to know.
It really does.
Definitely makes me, just like I was hoping for, and made me want to go back and watch the classic Mad Max
I definitely
movies.
do.
But this was a hell of a movie, you guys. Like,
it was beyond phenomenal.
Uh,
Let's actually talk about the movie beyond me saying
just
phenomenal.
saying phenomenal,
Just,
you know,
like,
phenomenon
perfect.
is the right word. Okay, well, the casting.
I thought having the kid from Malcolm in the Middle in there was an interesting choice.
I don't think that was actually
No, that
Frankie.
was definitely.
Was that Frankie Muniz? I don't.
No,
it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. But
No,
it's
it was
some kid who looked exactly
Nicholas
like
something.
him.
No, we had a lot of really weird and interesting makeup for the post-apocalyptic setting. I'm fine with that. Tom Hardy was our titular character. Acted the hell out of this part. Especially since, like...
He had, like, 10 lines.
Yeah, Max barely talks in the movie.
Everything he says with body language, which is significantly harder to achieve than actually vocalizing what your character is meaning to say.
But
More often than not, he just kind of gestures.
But lo and behold, it worked. We figured out who his character was. They established a lot about who he is and the guilt that drives him right from the beginning, and it continues to be solid from there.
Same with Furiosa.
Charlize Theron, yeah. Whew. She was a badass.
Mother beaver.
That, I don't know how they did the prosthetic arm effect that she was rocking, but, really great performance on her part. Tough as nails. But very human.
If it wasn't for the fact that Max needed to be in the movie in order to sell it, I'm pretty sure they would have called it Furiosa.
I'm curious how many of the Mad Max movies are just him kind of wandering into a situation and helping out, like
MacGyvering his way through it.
Basically, yeah.
I have no idea. We're probably going to have to do a follow-up video after watching some.
If you guys would like to hear what we think about the classic Mad Max movies, let us know in the comments. We'd record something on it.
We're planning on watching them now.
I've been wanting to watch them for a while. This gives me new incentive. Great acting all around, though. Good guys, bad guys, yeah.
Thoroughly disgusted by the bad guys. Which I loved.
I hated the villain, Immortal Joe, I think they called him. Like, awful guy. But what I loved was how fake he was. That, like, he is this disgusting, dying blob of a human being, but they put this armor on him to make him look
buff and...
Mm-hmm. And this fake jaw thing, he is absolutely disgusting, the bad guy. Oh.
And, like, his people are inbred.
Yeah. Super gross.
His pure selves were inbred, and Nux makes a point of it.
Yeah, there's some really...
He had smiley faces on his...
on his growths. They had the post-apocalyptic setting. They really set up well.
They really, really did.
A+
to the costuming department. I can't give them a high enough rating there.
A+ to like the set and the vehicle design.
Props guy, too. We love you.
Yeah, holy shit. Several props people. There was one person on the credits I noticed who only did the steering wheels and skulls. That was their entire job.
Wheels and skulls.
Wow. So, the Mad Max series, can't talk about it without talking about cars. And there were some cool as hell, just, like, scrap metal thrown together monstrosities.
I am sorry, Optimus Prime. That was the coolest semi I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah, belching flame, covering. Oh, wow.
Nemesis Prime is jealous.
Yes. And I was really. They used CG the right way. They
In
spiced.
moderation.
They spiced the scenes with it, but most of it was done practically. So to the stuntmen.
I made the comment, like, for when we saw the credits, dummies. I'm like, shout out to you for probably having to go to fabric ones after the other ones were just, like, probably too expensive to get the more realistic ones. Considering, like, the death toll was close to 200 some odd. Oh.
It's also just doesn't seem fair to not mention how good this movie looked.
It was beautiful.
It was shot remarkably well.
Also, to the camera guy.
Yeah.
Whoever did that.
Everything was shot really, really well and artistically. There was never a boring angle.
Color was used as a narrative device.
Sped up footage was used as an effective narrative device, which I'm so not used to, but it.
And the moments that I thought were slow motion weren't actually slow mo. Did you notice that too?
A little bit, yeah.
Like, the moments that you feel like it's slow mo, it probably wasn't. And that's beautiful to me because you're sitting there and you're like, what's going on? Like him pulling himself up out of the sand, I thought that was actually slow-mo. But no, that's the actual effect of the scene taking hold of you.
The movie has brilliant pacing. You never feel. I was actually shocked by how short the movie was. Because, like.
We saw a screening that started at 6:50. We were out of the theater at 9:30?
No, 9.
9?
It was only 9:30 when we got home. Yeah, it was only 2 hours 10 minutes. It felt even shorter though because the movie just it never
I honestly
stops.
thought it felt longer.
Longer, but in a good way, right?
Yeah, like longer in a good way. Like the whole the scenes taking my breath away made it.
There's a really strong. It's weird. I heard someone say that if you're going in looking for a story, you won't find much, and I disagree.
There's a very powerful story to be told, it was told.
These for yeah, well, like you were saying, Max just kind of accidentally happens upon the story after getting kidnapped. You have these women trying to escape sex slavery. And he ends up teaming up with them and just car chase.
Beautiful long car chase through the desert. I noticed we have yet to actually talk about the movie.
We're talking about the movie.
I know.
We're talking about elements.
But I want to talk about the plot.
Okay. Well, what do you want to talk about in the plot?
I'm going to use the words again. It was a phenomenal plot.
It's fine. It really was a phenomenal plot. It's not... It doesn't need to be extremely complicated because the characters and the setting work so well.
And through here we get a cast of mostly female leads.
Mm-hmm.
Only 4 characters really had names.
I'm told they have names, but they don't really say them on screen, so... that or I missed them in their thick Australian accents.
And Charlize Theron being the only person who I could actually audibly understand when she was talking.
I understood Max most of the time. He wasn't as bad as he was as Bane. Don't give him... Yes,
I'm going to kill you now.
Yes, not only was it a Tom Hardy movie I liked, it was a Tom Hardy movie I loved.
Also a Tom Hardy movie where you could see his mouth.
Yeah, that's true too.
I feel like the face mask thing may have been a Bane joke.
Maybe. Yeah, there's the face... They did a bit of that in the classic.
Okay.
I think there's a lot to be said about there's definitely there's a strong message about the treatment of women in this movie.
It's one of the most beautiful allegories I've ever seen. And it's an allegory for female oppression. And I'm
it's
sorry.
Overtly about female oppression.
We're female person. I feel and I completely understand what those girls are going through. Like, I intrinsically felt something for these characters. And part of it was, I know women who were in that boat. And I've helped people get out of there. And, it's, crazy.
Almost all of the characters have an arc.
Yeah.
Like, all of, at least our protagonists, like, they grow as people throughout this movie, and that says, I think, a lot. Like, you have the abuse victim who almost runs back to their abuser, which is real. That's a real thing.
That is a real thing that happens, and it's, well, really unfortunate. We can't really do much about it, and you sitting there watching helplessly as this person runs back.
Theron's character, Furiosa, she wants redemption, and her journey to it is
fraught with destruction.
But it's also it's an important journey for her, and by extension, she starts showing Max, who's a very lost person at the beginning of this movie. He's not in a good place. It kind of helps him figure out who he is again too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it doesn't need to be a super complicated plot so long as your characters and your setting work. And I was in this world.
I feel like it was an actually very complicated plot. The main plot was the search for hope.
Right.
And how to attain that hope. If you take away the vehicles entirely, you have a very simple story idea,
mm-hmm.
which is searching for hope.
That's kind of what I was getting at, is that the main idea is very simple, but they
take possibly the most complex way to tell that story by following 7-8 characters on this journey that to them takes place under a week.
I had a theory on what I think one of the themes of the movie might be in addition to that. I think when Max meets up with Furiosa and the women she's trying to save, they're trying to run away from the Citadel, this totalitarian society where the women aren't treated as
they're
people.
Slaves.
They're things.
They're property.
And Furiosa's plan is to run away from that, to get the most far away from that as possible. But when they find victory, it's not by running away. It's by standing up to their oppressors and forcing that change from the inside. That you can't just run away from the issue. You gotta face it, and you gotta bring that change, make it real.
And rip its jaw off.
And rip its jaw off. Yeah. We should mention there's not a single bad action scene in this movie. Like, not just the car chases, but the fight scenes are...
When you get fisticuffs with 2 men attached by handcuffs with a, 13-foot chain, and slave women beating up on these guys, it's...
And grannies with guns.
Grannies with guns.
Grannies with guns, yes.
Grannies kicking the living shit out of people with guns.
Or guys on big poles, swinging back and forth.
Something that makes Cirque du Soleil people very, very, scared.
Oh.
They actually did that while moving.
Yeah. Oh.
They actually did that while on motorcycles.
And Guitar Guy.
Guitar Guy.
I was about Guitar Guy at this point, but that was pretty great.
Guitar Guy was great and provided the best excuse for incidental music I've ever seen. Instrument-powered machine where this guy bungee jumping while playing a guitar that happens to also be attached by bungees that can also spout flames.
Oh, and
And
huge
his
speaker
drums
setup.
in front of like the stage to beat all stages with four drummers behind him.
I think
Four
so, yeah.
drummers, and they
All on a car.
all in a car. They beat out the pace rhythmically, and they provide the best incidental music while also being one of the coolest cars in the whole movie.
Music in this movie's great though. Like they use it exactly the way it should be used. In the movie.
It was an entirely instrumental track.
Mm-hmm.
I was very happy that it was an entirely instrumental track, and you actually got different tones depending on who you were looking at. If you were looking at the male aggressors, you actually got more metal sounds, and when you were looking at the ladies, you got softer but more intense music.
This was,
and the music box was beautiful.
The rest of the summer has a really high bar set now, as far as I'm concerned, because it's been a while since I've seen a movie this astoundingly good.
Let's talk about Nux.
All right.
Nux, this little whippersnapper who we were introduced to almost right off the bat.
He's initially one of the war boys for
War Pups.
War Pups are the ones back home. War Boys are the
War Boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's suicidal. Initially, he's like suicidally hell-bent on just proving himself, and
all the War Boys are.
Mm-hmm. And he has this great character arc where he grows,
where he starts off just following orders and wanting to prove himself, but after he is more or less scorned by what's his face?
The Immortal something.
Immortal Joe?
I think it's Immortal Joe.
This is like the first episode of an anime. I just didn't really catch names.
They didn't really say them much on. Again,
they weren't said very often.
Thick Australian accents, you guys.
Through this kid's encounters, you actually realize that, well, he realizes that he has a heart and a soul, and that he can choose his own destiny, and that just because you have someone who is your spiritual and political leader doesn't mean, well, when you are indoctrinated and this was your life, that doesn't have to be your future. And I believe he fell in love too.
Yeah. It was this weird like movie romance that didn't seem tacked on or crappy or forced. Which
it was a very natural romance that happened between those two characters, the redhead and Nux.
Mm-hmm.
I actually cried when he met his fate.
That was, yeah, it worked. It was really... I'm going to say this. I am just ecstatic. Not only that this movie was this good, but that the Meninists out there
won't be seeing it.
Were protesting it before it even came out. Because this is one more awesome thing I get that doesn't get ruined by asshats. So, screw off, Meninists. You know what? This movie isn't about you. In fact, it hates you. And that makes me feel even better. It wants to kick
you in the balls.
Yeah, it does.
Actually, probably stab you in the balls with an explodey spear.
God, those are cool. Everything about this movie is cool. Everything about it is beautiful. Okay, that's not true. The bad guys are ugly and evil and
they're
terrible.
Ugly as sin, which makes them beautiful because the cosmetic people did phenomenal.
If you're on the fence about this movie, don't. Just go see it. It's really good. It might be my movie of the year. I'm ready to call it, like, depending on what else I see this year.
At least movie of the summer.
It's probably gonna be. It's for sure the rest of the summer.
Sorry,
guys.
Ant-Man.
Sorry, Ant-Man. Sorry, Man from U.N.C.L.E. Sorry, a bunch of other movies. But this looks really, really,
This
really,
was so good.
really good. This actually might even be, and again, this might be the hype of just seeing it. I'm willing to put this on my list of best action movies of all time. Freaking time.
How about I put it this way? There have only been like 3 other movies to leave me speechless, and the last time for that to actually happen was when I saw the Fritz Lang's Metropolis, the restored version with the 20 additional minutes of footage.
It's going to be one of the best experiences you can have in a theater. See it in a theater. See it on a big screen. This is a spectacle. You need to get the full experience of this movie.
It's a shame that this is going to be released on DVD, is all I have to say.
I'm fine with it getting. I want as many people to see this as
No,
possible.
I say that because that means there are going to be people not watching it in high definition, not seeing every single grain of salt fall off of Tom Hardy's face.
Oh, man.
Like, the camera was used to the absolute best of their ability. They used visual storytelling for what it's meant for. They could have axed dialogue almost entirely from this movie, and I still would have understood what was going on.
When they used the dialogue, it worked really well, though.
Again, I'm pointing out Fritz Lang's Metropolis here, where dialogue was used sparingly, but to great effect.
Yeah, if you're on the fence, go see it. I guess I don't know if we have much else to say other than just how amazing it was.
I do have this to say.
Okay.
If Tony Stark would have been in this movie, he would have been destroyed.
Age of Ultron Tony Stark, that is. Sexist jackass Tony Stark.
Mostly because of the prima nocta joke.
Not
Furiosa would have stabbed him in the balls with the exploding spear.
I'm about to say, let's be fair. Like, good movies, Tony Stark wouldn't be. Well, movie.
First movie one.
Avengers and Iron Man 3, Tony Stark would be okay anyway.
Yeah. Pepper Potts would have been very, very loved in this movie.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
This was, definitely, if you like, there's really no good reason to not see this movie. I'm going to be honest.
I'm very sorry if your fedora powers are too strong and you just don't want to see it.
I'm not. Screw off.
Oh,
I have no room for meniness. So yeah. Anyway, I think just thumbs up. Go see Mad Max Fury Road.
Hell hath no fury like a furious is scorned.
I think that's it for right now. Thanks for checking us out. Can't wait to talk to you about the next movie, which I don't know what it'll be yet, but we'll be here once again, sooner rather than later. I'm Nick Izumi.
And I'm Rena Innocenti. Peace, love, and donuts.
And keep on spocking in the free world.